Light and love and peace abide within me. Light and love and peace abide within you. What's good, fam? We made it to lesson 93 of A Course in Miracles. We have a very powerful lesson today, and we are going to understand that not only do light and love and peace abide within us, but that is actually who we really are. Now, me and you are being slowly fed this information because, like the both of us and the rest of the world, we believe that we are these bodies, and we believe that we are separate from one another and all that is, and we believe that fear exists. We believe that worry, doubt, fear, etc. are all things that are real, which they are not. So we have to be slowly fed this information stating that light and joy and peace abide within us, but we are going to take that lesson a little further today and understand that they don't just abide within us. That is actually who we really are. But because we think we're the body, it is easier for us to be told that something exists within us as this body until we finally come to the realization that this body is not real to begin with, meaning it is temporary, it is going to perish and turn to dust one day, and what is not eternal never existed. It is an illusion, and God only creates the eternal. God created me and you, who is love and light and spirit, and me and you, like we talked about yesterday, wandered off and we made these bodies for ourselves to experience what it would be like to be separate from God, although we never really separated ourselves, only but in our minds, in a dream. So we are going to talk more about this today, and this concept, if you will, although this is what's really happening here, is going to become more clear and more visible to us after we read today's lesson. But just understand that not only do light and joy and peace abide in us, but that is our true nature. That is who we really are, because light and joy and love and peace are all eternal. Those are all eternal attributes of God, and God creates like himself, meaning those are also eternal attributes of who we are. Now, let's go ahead and dive straight in. If you got the book, you already know where to go. If you don't got the book yet, the PDF is in the description. And like always, if me and you read these words together with our physical eyes and we look at the page, it's going to be much more beneficial than if you are to just listen to me read this, although that won't hurt as well. Whatever works best for you. But just know that we have a very powerful lesson today. So to absorb as much knowledge as we can, it would be best if we read these words together. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and begin. Lesson 93 of A Course in Miracles. Light and joy and peace abide in me. You think you are the home of evil, darkness, and sin. You think if anyone could see the truth about you, he would be repelled, recoiling from you as if from a poisonous snake. You think if what is true about you were revealed to you, you would be struck with horror so intense that you would rush to death by your own hand after living on, after seeing this being impossible. Now, before we move on to the next paragraph, just remember that although it is exaggerating these words in a way that helps us understand them, this is really what's going on here, and we're just not aware of it. But we really feel this way about ourselves. Some people, and this was including myself, before I got to any of this internal work, are scared to look within. You're scared about what you're gonna find there. You're scared about the things that fear you, and you try to avoid them by any means necessary, because people don't want to look within. People don't want to look within and see all those fears because they believe that they are real. And again, before we continue, what happens is you're either doing one of two things. You are either projecting or extending. Remember, you can only extend what you have, meaning you are light and joy and love and peace. Those are who you really are. And whenever you are in that state of mind, you're extending that outward to others. Now, projecting is seeing something outside of yourself, perceiving something outside of yourself that you put there because you projected it from within first. But projections are not real. For example, if you go to the movie theaters and you go try to scrape the screen and take the movie down, it's just a projection. It's not real. You're not going to destroy anything. It's just thin air. So that's kind of what's happening right now within is most people are scared to look within because they believe that there is fear that exists there, although it doesn't. It's just a belief, and they believe in what they made. Me and you made the fear for ourselves, and because we don't want to see that it is within, we where we think we're going to find it, we actually unknowingly project it outside on the world. So now we look at everyone else with a judgment. We look at everyone else with fear and jealousy and anger and annoyance. And this person, they're slow. This person's not very bright. This person's this, they're that. And we're kind of projecting all of our own sense of fear on the world, on situations, circumstances, events. We are projecting unknowingly, by the way, all that stuff out there. So now we think that the problem's out there and we think we're good, and we do anything by any means necessary to distract ourselves from having a quiet mind, because a quiet mind means that you're going to have to look within. You're going to have to see what abides within you, and we don't want to see what we think is there because it's fearful to look at. So we have to keep in mind that somebody who is still asleep in the dream doesn't know that they're doing this. They don't know. They're not consciously aware of the psychological aspects taking place within their self, within their mind. They are not aware of it because they've never been reminded of this information. And I say reminded because we all already know all that is to know. Me and you are one with and a part of all that is, has been, and will be. So there is nothing here to learn. It's just removing blocks that are hindering us from seeing what's already there. Now, this is being told to us in this way to help the sleeping person understand that that's what's going on behind the scenes. So although we never say these words to ourselves, and although we never even have given a thought like this any attention before, this is showing us what's really happening. And now that we're aware, whenever we fall back asleep, we're going to catch ourselves doing exactly what it just stated, because we're aware now. And that's the first step in undoing your illusions, is by looking straight at them and seeing that they are not really there. They are of your own making, and you believe in what you create, just like how God believes and knows that what he creates is truth, which is you and me. We are truth, and God knows that. And me and you create like God, and we believe that what we make is truth, and it is not. It is our miscreations of worry, doubt, and fear that me and you are undoing here together today. These are beliefs so firmly fixed that it is difficult to help you see that they are based on nothing. That you have made mistakes is obvious. That you have sought salvation in strange ways, have been deceiving, and afraid of foolish fantasies and savage dreams, and have bowed down to idols made of dust. All this is true by what you now believe. So this first sentence of the second paragraph actually clarified everything that I just stated perfectly. These are beliefs so firmly fixed that it is difficult to help you see that they are based on nothing. Me and you have beliefs that are based on nothing, because fear is nothing, and we believe that they exist. And because we're perceiving with those glasses on, someone coming to us presenting information of this magnitude, saying, hey, yo, there's a different way over here, who you really are, this is where you want to go, it is going to be difficult for somebody to reawaken to that fact, because they are only seeing what the perception of their glasses, the perception of their 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 miscreations, and they think that that is what's real. And someone coming to you telling you that that's not real seems insane. So the fact that me and you have got here today 93 days straight, and we are remembering this information, and we are not only remembering it, but we are knowing it to be certain, we have made it a long way. Because I'm sure if this information was presented to majority of the world out there right now in the way that it is not going to click to them, which is why me and you, as the light of the world, need to remember this information for everyone else by leading by the clarity of our example. Even if a word is never spoken from us to them about this information, we will wake them up, because that is the power of who and what me and you are. Today, we question this not from the point of view of what you think, but from a very different reference point, from which such idle thoughts are meaningless. These thoughts are not according to God's will. These weird beliefs He does not share with you. This is enough to prove that they are wrong, but you do not perceive this. You do not perceive that this is so. Why would you not be overjoyed to be assured that all the evil that you think you did was never done? That all your sins are nothing, and that you are as pure and holy as you were created, and that light and joy and peace abide in you? Why would we not be overjoyed to assured that this was never done and this was never so? Your image of yourself cannot withstand the will of God. You think that this is death, but it is life. You think you are destroyed, but you are saved. Now, that's a very important point that me and you are going to go over real quick. So, it's stating that me and you think that we are destroyed in the presence of this information, and that is very much so true. Who we think we are is being destroyed, because that is not who we really are. And me and you think that this information and knowledge and remembrance is death, and it very much is so. It is death to that tiny little self-image, the ego that me and you have made apart from God. Now, that is why information like this is not so pleasant to most of the world, because whenever they hear something like this of this magnitude, they are fearful, because identifying with the ego knows, hold up, this is against my whole entire belief system. And in order to continue to live and perpetuate myself, I can't be seeing love and light. Love and light is going to destroy me, because it will cause the mind that created me to see that it can't create what I am, which is the ego. Me and you made this self-image, and now that self-image took on a life of its own and tries to keep me and you asleep by seeing the ego in everyone else and seeing the fear everywhere else, because as long as it sees the fear and the worry and the doubt and the evil and the sin and all of that, those other attributes that this world is dominated by, then that ego that we think we are will continue to perpetuate itself. We will think that we're the body, and we will think that we are capable of dying, and the ego will believe that it has usurped the power of God. It believes that me and you are alone and separate in this big universe, and we are boxed off and caged away, and we are good how we are. And it's very insane, because it makes us feel like all the problems out there and that we're good enough, at the same time making us feel like we're not good enough. So I really want us to take some time today to understand that everything that we're discussing right now is what's happening, and for most of our lives we have not been aware of it, and today we are remembering that it is great news and outrageously joyous that we are here in the presence of this information today, because it allows who we thought we were our whole lives, which is that self-image, the ego that we made apart from God, never existed, never was real, because what God did not create and what God does not will can never be. Nothing can ever go against God's will. And remember, God's will is not an alien will thrust upon you, something that you would not prefer. God's will is your will. God's will is my will, and He is remembering it for us, because we fell asleep to who we really are, whom shares the will of God. We fell asleep to our true self, because we made the tiny s self, like the course states, the self-image of the ego, and that's who we think we are. And we believe that we will something else. We believe that we want and desire something else other than what God would want for us. And that is just not so. And as long as we're identifying with the ego and the body, we're going to think that we want something other than what God wants for us, which is something out there in the world, a relationship, a condition, whatever it may appear like. But whenever we understand that all the stuff out there is nothing, it is dust, it is literally an illusion, a hallucination, then we will understand that we are capable of reawakening to the outrageous joy that we are, and we don't need none of those occurrences to take place in order for us to feel outrageous joy like we are now. And only whenever we are in our right state of mind like we are now, if you're here with me, then all those things will begin to formulate around you and form to give you the best experience that you could possibly have here. But you have to understand that none of that is necessary, and you have to release attachment to the outcome, or else those things cannot take place. Me and you here are releasing attachment to everything outside of ourselves, whether that's a relationship, it is material items, it is whatever. And I'm sure that you could name a whole host of things that you have been attached to and may still currently be attached to. And only whenever you release attachment to those things, because they are nothing, can those things finally begin to come into your life, because you no longer need them and you are whole and you are feeling as if you already had those things, because the only reason you want anything is because you believe it will make you feel better in the having of it. But whenever you understand that you are already whole and love and light, and there is nothing better than that, that you are one with your creator still, and you have never not been one with your creator, then everything will just magnetize towards you or rush towards you. And we're not doing it for that purpose. Of course, it is going to be nice to experience what we want to experience in this world, but we are doing it for the purpose of feeling outrageous joy, because that is who we are, and everything that comes after that will be a byproduct. So most people are doing it the opposite way. They are going after the things of this world because they believe that they're going to find salvation, aka happiness, love, and light, aka who they really are, in those things that they're searching for, and they're never going to find it, because it's only going to be so temporary until they need their next fix in order to be happy again. And you don't need anything to be happy, because happiness is who you are. So it's important that we understand the importance of what we're learning and remembering here today, because the quicker we get a grasp on this information and we understand that this is what's happening, and we stay in this state of mind forevermore, then there will be nothing to fear. There never has been anything to fear, but because we believe there is to us. But that is not truth. In reality, that is just what we have made truth in our minds. But remember, we cannot make anything that is out of accord with God's will. Thank goodness, or else me and you would have bound ourselves to fear and it would have been undoable. But because God's will prevails, and God's will again is our will, and because He is remembering that will for me and you, then nothing will prosper against that. So be glad. The self you made is not the Son of God. Therefore, this self, the ego, does not exist at all. And anything it seems to do and think means nothing. It is neither bad nor good. It is unreal. That's worthy of being highlighted. It is neither bad or good. It is unreal. And nothing more than that. It does not battle with the Son of God. It does not hurt him nor attack his peace. It has not changed creation nor reduced eternal sinlessness to sin and reduced love to hate. What power can this self you made possess when it would contradict the will of God? Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Over and over, this must be repeated until it is accepted. It is true. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God, and your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. And all a sin means is any unloving thought. Anytime you are thinking without God, which you cannot really do, because the only time you ever think is with God. Whenever you're not thinking with God, you're not thinking at all. You are simply hallucinating. Now, you could consider any thought that you have apart from God sin. That's all it is. You know, and even that's a strong of a word, because me and you are sinless. So it is just an error. Me and you are malfunctioning whenever we are thinking apart from God, because whenever you think apart from God, again, which you can't really do, but you think you are going to see worry, doubt, and fear and your own projections outside of yourself. But whenever you are one with God, and although that can never change, but your awareness of that oneness is what makes all the difference. Whenever you are aware of that oneness, then you are whole, you are happy. Whenever you are not aware of that wholeness, you feel separated and sad. What power can this self you made possess when it would contradict the will of God? Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Over and over, this must be repeated until it is accepted. It is true. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Nothing can touch it or change what God created as eternal. The self you made, evil and full of sin, is meaningless. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God, and light and joy and peace abide in you. Salvation requires the acceptance of but one thought. You are as God created you, not what you made of yourself. And that's a very powerful revelation right there, that me and you are as God created us, not what we made of ourselves. Me and you, when we are clear-minded, when we are sure-footed, when we are decisive, and we love ourselves, and we love all aspects of creation, and we are not judging any aspects of creation. We are at one and at peace and happy and joy. When we are in that state of mind, then we are being who we really are. We are being as God created us. And whenever me and you are thinking that we are capable of being hurt, we think we're this body, we think we're lacking something, we think that we're not enough, we think we're thinking, we are simply hallucinating, seeing fear which does not really exist. And in that moment, me and you are identifying with the tiny little ego self image that we made apart from God, which we believe is really who we are. And today we are here to remember that that is not so, and be glad, because whenever you are in that state of mind, that's where the fear comes, that's where the sickness comes, where the disease, where the depression comes, that's where the deterioration of the body comes. Because remember, this body is not who you are, so any effects that it has of sickness is done because of the cause, which is the mind that thinks the thoughts that that are not in alignment with who we really are. Whenever we are not in alignment with who we really are, then the body takes on all of that resistance, and you will begin to display forms of that miscreation in your body. So let's just keep that in mind, that this body is nothing and it is not cause. It is the effect of the cause, which is who you really are. That's the way it always has been. That's the way it is right now. And that's the way it forever will be. And let's be glad that we are remembering our power, because now we can be aware when we are creating or when we are miscreating, and we can choose which way we want to go from there. And I'm sure me and you, if we are in our right mind, know which way we would like to go. Whatever evil you may think you did, you are as God created you. Whatever mistake you made, the truth about you is unchanged. Creation is eternal and unalterable. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. You are and will forever be exactly as you were created. Light and joy and peace abide in you because God put them there. In our longer exercise periods today, which would be most profitable if done for the first 5 minutes of every waking hour, begin by stating the truth about your creation. Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Now, the Course states that this would be most profitable if done for the first 5 minutes whenever the clock strikes 12, 1, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Again, the first 5 minutes of every waking hour. If you have to set an alarm, do so. If you are really willing to make this thought repeated as frequent as possible, set the alarm or put a sticky note in your environment where you cannot miss it, or do something right now and commit to that decision that is going to remind you to exercise your abilities. This thought right here is an intention, it is an ability. And whenever you exercise this ability, just like going out and working out at the gym, the muscle gets stronger and stronger. And you repeating this thought for every single waking hour for the first 5 minutes of the day, of every single waking hour and more, if you feel led to, will impress that you are light and joy and peace, and they abide in you, and your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. And that thought is much more beneficial to think than, should I have said that? I should have said this differently. I wonder what that person over there thinks about me. They're probably thinking that I should have done that better. They're probably thinking that I'm not good enough. Oh, hold up, I need to go do this so that way I could think that they think that I'm good enough. All these illusions again, and our minds are looping those thoughts that I just said. I'm pretty sure you had a few of those at one point today, and those thoughts are irrelevant. They serve no purpose. They are literally nothing. And it is only our own projections of why we think other people think certain ways about us. We really think that way about ourselves. Whenever you say, I think this person thinks that I'm this, and that, you don't know what that person's thinking, because their illusions can't be shared. Who they are is love and light, meaning that because you think they're thinking this and saying stuff about you, you're really thinking those thoughts about yourself, which is why looking within is important, because we will see that they are not real and we can dispel those beliefs because they serve no purpose. Then put away your foolish self-images and spend the rest of the practice period in trying to experience what God has given you in place of what you have decreed for yourself. You are what God created or what you made. Which one do you want to be? Would you like to be who God created finally again? Or do you want to be that tiny little self-image who does not know nothing, because the ego does not know nothing because it is nothing? That confused version of yourself who doesn't know what to do, doesn't know what to say, doesn't know whom to say it to, doesn't feel clear-minded, doesn't feel enough. You get to choose and to decide whether you want to be what God created or what you made. And if you're in your right mind, I'm pretty sure you know which one it is. One self is true, the other is not there. You are what God created or what you made. One self is true, the other is not there. Try to experience the unity of your one self with the capital S. Try to experience the unity of your one self, who you really are. Try to appreciate its holiness and and the love from which it was created. That's too funny. It is not there. I still can't stop laughing about that. We take this too seriously. Me and you take our illusions too seriously when we don't have to. Try not to interfere with the self, the capital S. Remember, whenever the Course, and this is why it's important for you to actually see these words if you're able to, because you'll see the intention that was placed behind them, whether they were italicized, whether they are capitalized. All of that is done deliberately and with deliberate intent. So try not to interfere with the self, with who you really are, which God created as you, by hindering its majesty behind the tiny idols of evil and sinfulness you have made to replace it. Let it come into its own. Here you are. This is you. And light and joy and peace abide in you because this is so. You may not be willing or even able to use the first 5 minutes of each hour for these exercises. Try, however, to do so when you can. At least remember to repeat these thoughts each hour. Light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Then try to devote at least a minute or so to closing your eyes and realizing that this is a statement of truth about you. If a situation arises that seems to be disturbing, quickly dispel the illusion of fear by repeating these thoughts again one more time. If a situation arises that seems to be disturbing you, if a person comes and seems to be disturbing you, getting you upset, a situation, circumstance, event occurs that gets you thrown off balance, it is necessary for you to quickly dispel that illusion of fear by repeating, light and joy and peace abide in me. My sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Should you be tempted to become angry with someone, tell him silently, light and joy and peace abide in you. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. And this is powerful because of its truth. This is powerful because whenever you're looking at this person right now, whether it be a sibling or a family member or a friend or someone you think you love or someone that you think you hate, whoever it may be, it could be somebody at the store who you don't know and they do something that gets you upset. In your mind, in that moment, tell him silently, light and joy and peace abide in you. Your sinlessness is guaranteed by God. And I promise you that you will unleash superpowers you never knew you had by applying these techniques. You can do much for the world's salvation today. You can do much today to bring you closer to the part in salvation that God has assigned to you. And you can do much today to bring the conviction to your mind that the idea for the day is true indeed. And that is the end of this beautifully written lesson today. We are going to meet here again tomorrow for lesson 93 of A Course in Miracles. Remember that light and joy and peace abide in me. Light and joy and peace abide in you, and our sinlessness is guaranteed by God. Now, with that being said, we will meet here again tomorrow, and until then, may we never be the same.